One day you wake up and realize that life is not about luck or timing, it is about design. You see people everywhere running, chasing, working, yet still feeling lost. They have energy, but no direction. They have dreams, but no system. They have desire, but no discipline. And that is why most people spend years moving, but never arriving. The truth is simple. Your life is a reflection of your philosophy. Your thoughts create your actions create your results, and your results create your future. But here is the problem. Most people never choose their philosophy. They inherit it, they copy it, they absorb it from family, friends, media, and environment without ever stopping to ask if it actually works for them. They end up living someone else's ideas without realizing it. And that is why they struggle, that is why they feel stuck, that is why they feel like life is passing them by, because they are living by default, not by design. But there comes a moment when you start to question everything. You start to wonder, what if I could redesign my thinking? What if I could build a stronger philosophy, a philosophy that pushes me forward, that makes me stronger, wiser, calmer, more disciplined, and more powerful? That is where change begins, because real success does not start with money or skill. It starts with mindset. It starts with the ideas you live by. It starts with the standards you set for yourself. When you design your philosophy, you design your future. When you change your thoughts, you change your life. Because life does not give you what you want, it gives you what you are prepared for, and preparation begins in the mind. This series is about that design. It is about understanding why most people drift through life without meaning, and how a few decide to take control. It is about rebuilding your thinking from the ground up, so that your results match your potential. It is about replacing confusion with clarity, replacing wishes with work, and replacing excuses with execution. If you have ever felt like you were meant for more, but could not find the map, this is that map. These words are not just motivation, they are blueprints, they are reminders that you have the power to design the direction of your life, because no one else can do it for you. The world will keep spinning, the wind will keep blowing, the noise will keep growing, but you can still build your peace, your clarity, your purpose. All it takes is a decision to design your own philosophy, your own rules, your own principles. That is where your freedom begins, because a strong philosophy does not just change your days, it changes your destiny. Most people spend their whole life trying to change results without ever changing the roots. They change jobs, they change cities, they change relationships, but they never change their philosophy. And until that changes, nothing else will be different, because your life does not follow your wishes, it follows your beliefs, your habits, and your decisions. Every person is a builder. Every day, they lay down bricks of habits, thoughts, and attitudes, and those bricks form the walls of their life. Some build walls of fear, some build walls of faith, some build walls of limitation, some build walls of possibility. The material is chosen by your philosophy. If you believe life is hard, you build small. If you believe life is opportunity, you build big. The world responds to the way you think about it. And that is why a strong personal philosophy is the foundation of everything. Successful people are not lucky, they are intentional. They took time to decide what they stand for. They learned to say no to things that do not match their principles. They built inner rules that guide every choice, and those rules protect them from chaos. The problem is that most people live in reaction, not creation. They wait for life to happen, then complain about how it turned out. They blame the economy or their boss or the system, and never realize the system that decides everything is their own mind. If you fix your thinking, you fix your future. If you change your philosophy, you change your destiny. This is why two people can start at the same point, but end worlds apart. One decides to learn every day, the other decides to rest every day. One decides to save a little, the other decides to spend it all. One decides to focus, the other decides to scroll, and each day their philosophies take them farther apart, until one lives in freedom and the other in frustration. It is never luck, it is always philosophy. A strong philosophy is simple, it does not need to be complicated. It is built on small truths like value time, respect, effort, stay disciplined, take responsibility, and never blame the world, because blame is the language of the weak, while responsibility is the power of the strong. If you accept responsibility, you take back control of your future. Your philosophy should also include growth, because nothing stays the same. You are either getting better or you are getting worse. There is no standing still, and the person who understands this stays hungry. They learn, they adapt, they improve. They do not need to be perfect, but they refuse to be stagnant. Their philosophy says life rewards progress, not perfection. That is why the best investment you will ever make is not in stocks or property, it is in your thinking, because your mind creates everything else. When you improve your philosophy, you improve your income, your health, your relationships, your energy, even your peace of mind. All of it starts from one place, your inner blueprint. Think of your philosophy like software. If your program is outdated, no matter how strong the hardware is, it will crash. Life works the same way. You cannot run a future dream on an old mindset that belongs to your past. You have to update it with new Ideas, new principles, and new habits that match where you want to go, because a new life requires a new level of thinking, and that starts with what you believe about yourself. Most people undervalue themselves. They believe they are small. They believe they are limited. They believe they are stuck. That belief becomes their reality. You will never rise above the opinion you hold about yourself. If your philosophy says, I cannot, you never will. If your philosophy says, I can, you find a way. That is why you must protect your mind from negative input. What you listen to, what you watch, who you spend time with, all of it builds or breaks your philosophy. A strong mind is built through guarding your attention like gold, because attention is the gateway to your future. Whatever enters it stays and shapes you. This is why mentors matter. They help you upgrade your philosophy. They show you what you cannot see. They give you new perspectives and correct your course instead of spending years repeating mistakes you can learn from their experience. This is the fastest way to change your life. Do not fight for your limitations. Fight for your possibilities. If you keep defending your excuses, you keep your cage. Strong people who design their philosophy let go of excuses and grab onto responsibility. They say, if it is to be, it is up to me. They do not wait for a break. They create one. They do not ask for less challenge. They ask for more strength, because they understand that difficulty is the gym that builds character, and character is what carries you when motivation fades. Your philosophy is your GPS. When life gets hard, it reminds you where you are going. When others quit, it tells you to keep going. When you feel lost, it gives you direction. When you feel tired, it gives you reason. And the stronger your philosophy, the less you get distracted by noise. Some people chase every trend, every opinion, every new shiny thing. But those who have designed philosophy move with purpose. They know what to ignore and what to focus on. They know what matters and what does not, because their life is guided by principle, not by pressure. The best time to build that philosophy was 10 years ago. The second best time is now. You do not need to wait for a crisis. You just need to decide that you will think differently. Start by writing down your beliefs. Ask yourself, what do I really believe about success, about failure, about people, about money, about God, about myself? Then look at those beliefs and ask, are these helping me or hurting me? The moment you change a weak belief, you change your direction. Every change starts in your philosophy before it shows in your reality. Remember, you do not build success, you build the mind that builds success, and that mind builds it all. The biggest change in life happens when you stop living by accident and start living by design. And that design begins with your personal philosophy. Building your own philosophy is like writing the operating system of your life. It is the code that runs your habits, decisions, and results. You cannot borrow it, you must build it yourself. So let us start. Step 1 is awareness. You cannot change what you do not see. Take time to study your life. Like an outsider, ask yourself, why do I do what I do? Why do I spend like this? Why do I react like this? Why do I work like this? Most people never ask these questions. They move on autopilot, repeating patterns they never designed. But when you become aware, you start seeing the invisible connection between your thoughts and your results. You begin to notice that your beliefs drive your behavior, and your behavior creates your outcome. Step 2 is evaluation. Write down your current beliefs about life, about work, about money, about health, about relationships, about time. Then look at each belief and ask, does this belief help me or hurt me? Does it push me forward or hold me back? Be brutally honest, because this is where growth begins. Maybe you believe money is hard to earn, that success belongs to others, that you are too old or too late. These are not facts, they are stories that your old philosophy built, and until you question them, they control you. Step 3 is decision. Once you see what does not serve you, decide what will take its place. Design new beliefs that empower you, beliefs that match the life you want to live. Say to yourself, money is a tool I can learn to master. Success is built, not granted. I am capable of growth at any age. Time is my greatest asset, and I use it wisely. Decisions like these rewrite your inner blueprint, because every new belief plants a new seed, and new seeds create new harvests. Step 4 is alignment. Once you have designed your new beliefs, you must live them. Your actions must match your philosophy, otherwise your life will always feel split. If you say discipline matters, then keep your promises. If you say health is important, then act accordingly. If you say you value growth, then study daily. Your actions are proof of your philosophy. And when they match, you feel strong, you feel clear, you feel free, because your inner world and outer world are finally aligned. Step 5 is repetition. Every day you repeat your philosophy until it becomes your nature. Do not expect instant results. Change is built through consistency, like brushing your teeth. You do not do it once, you do it daily to keep your mind clean from negative dust. Read something strong every morning. Listen to wisdom every night. Surround yourself with people who reflect your future, not your past, because environment is stronger than willpower. If you stay around weak thinking, your new philosophy will die. But if you stay around strong thinkers, your new philosophy will grow. Step 6 is reflection. At the end of each week, ask yourself, did my actions match my beliefs? Did I live by my philosophy? Or did I fall back into old habits? This is not about judging yourself, it is about correcting your course. Pilots adjust their direction. Hundreds of times during a flight you must do the same. Life will try to push you off track, but reflection keeps you centered. And step 7 is commitment, because building a philosophy is not a one-time task, it is a lifetime practice. The world changes, you change, your goals change, your seasons change. So your philosophy must grow to update it as you learn more, strengthen it as you experience more, because a living philosophy is the secret to a living soul. The more you grow, the more your life expands. A philosophy is like a compass, it does not remove the storms, but it keeps you headed in the right direction. When you know your true north, you can walk through any chaos and still find your way. You will notice that as your philosophy evolves, your decisions become sharper, your emotions become calmer, your purpose becomes clearer. You no longer react to life, you respond to it. You no longer drift, you drive. You no longer chase success, you attract it, because your mind now operates with intention, and intention creates direction. This is the point where you become unstoppable, because nothing outside can break what is built strong inside. People will notice the change, they will ask what happened to you, and you will know it was not luck, it was not magic, it was design. You built your own philosophy, you chose your thoughts, you shaped your habits, you designed your destiny. That is the power. Every human has the power to think, to choose, to design. And that is what makes life beautiful. You do not need to be perfect, you just need to be intentional. You do not need to know it all, you just need to start. You do not need to change the world, you just need to change your philosophy, and the world around you will follow, because life is a mirror, it reflects your inner design. Make that design strong, make it clear, make it unbreakable, because everything you dream of will grow from that one foundation, your philosophy. When you finally build a strong philosophy, something beautiful starts to happen. Life begins to respond differently. Opportunities that once looked invisible start to appear. Energy that once felt low begins to rise, and confidence that once felt far away returns stronger than ever, because a sound philosophy changes the way you see everything. The world around you does not magically transform, but your lens does, and when your lens is clear, you start seeing possibilities in every challenge. Every struggle becomes a lesson, every setback becomes a signal, and every failure becomes fuel. You realize that life was never against you, it was simply responding to the ideas you were living by, and now that your ideas are strong, your life becomes strong too. The first reward of a strong philosophy is clarity. You no longer guess your way through days, you know why you wake up, you know what you are building, you know which battles are worth your energy and which ones are just distractions, because you now operate from design, not confusion, and that clarity saves you years. It saves you wasted motion, wasted effort, wasted stress. You become calm in the chaos. You begin to see that success is not about doing everything, but about doing the right things, and doing them consistently. The second reward is strength. When your philosophy is strong, you no longer break. When things get hard, you bend, but you do not snap. You stand firm when the wind blows, because you know who you are and what you stand for. Most people collapse under pressure because they built their life on opinions, but you built yours on principles. You know that challenges do not come to destroy you, but to develop you, and that is where inner power is born. The third reward is discipline, because when your philosophy is clear, you do not need to force yourself to act. You act because it makes sense. Your mind and heart are aligned. You do not procrastinate because you know what delay costs you. You do not waste time because you understand its value. Discipline becomes natural when purpose is strong. The fourth reward is growth. Every month, you can see yourself evolving. You think differently, you speak differently, you decide differently, and people start to notice. They will ask you what changed, but what really changed was your philosophy. You changed the root, and the fruit followed. The fifth reward is influence. When you live by design, you start to inspire others without trying. People watch your consistency, they see your peace, they see your results, and they begin to ask questions. They want to know what you know, because true influence is not about talking, it is about living. A strong philosophy speaks louder than any motivational speech ever could. The sixth reward is freedom, not just financial freedom, but mental freedom, the freedom to say no to what does not fit your values, the freedom to walk away from negativity, the freedom to live without fear, because you know life is fair to those who are disciplined. You stop blaming the system, the weather, the people. You stop complaining about what is wrong and start building what is right. This is freedom, when your mind is no longer a prison, but a partner. The seventh reward is peace. You wake up without panic, you go to bed without regret, you feel centered, even when life is imperfect, because peace does not come from control, it comes from clarity. You know you are moving in the right direction. Even if the road is long, that knowing creates calm. You no longer chase happiness, you create it. And the final reward is Legacy, because when you live by a strong philosophy you start leaving footprints that last longer than you do. People learn from your example. They remember your words, your habits, your energy, your impact, because a life built on principle does not fade. When you are gone it continues to teach, just like those who inspired you. Your life becomes a lesson for someone else. That is the true reward of a strong philosophy, not just success but significance, not just comfort but contribution. You become a light in a world full of noise. You become a standard in a world full of confusion. You become proof that design is stronger than drift, because every area of your life begins to reflect the blueprint you built. Your health improves, your relationships deepen, your work has purpose, your mind feels clear, your heart feels light. That is what happens when you live by design. You do not wait for good days, you create them. You do not wait for luck, you prepare for it. You do not wish for a better life, you build one. And the beautiful part is that anyone can start this journey. You do not need to be rich, educated, or perfect. You just need to decide that today you will think better than yesterday. And if you keep that promise, life will unfold in ways you cannot imagine. Your strong philosophy will become your strong future, and years from now, when you look back, you will smile knowing that you designed every step of the way. And that is the greatest reward of all. When you live by design, everything changes: your energy, your focus, your attitude, your results, because when your mind has a map, your life finally finds meaning. Most people are fighting the world outside, but losing the battle inside. They keep trying to fix their life without fixing their thinking. They keep trying to change the fruit without changing the root. But the moment you rebuild your philosophy, you shift the entire foundation of your life. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop existing and start living, because design brings power. When you know why you do what you do, you move differently, you speak differently, you walk with intention, you work with purpose, you dream with clarity, and you live with peace. The reward of a designed philosophy is not just success, it is strength. You become untouchable, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. The same problems that once broke you now build you, the same challenges that once scared you now train you, the same struggles that once drained you now define you. Because you understand that pain is information and pressure is growth. You no longer run from hard times, you use them. You no longer wait for motivation, you create it. You no longer depend on luck, you depend on discipline. This is the reward: a mind that stays calm when others panic, a heart that stays grateful when others complain, a spirit that stays hungry when others quit. When you live by design, you realize that success is not an event, it is a habit. It is the result of small daily choices that align with your vision. It is built through consistency, through character, through commitment. Every day you show up different, you speak to yourself different, you think different, you plan different. And over time life starts reflecting that difference, because the world does not change when you want it to, it changes when you change who you are inside. You stop seeking approval and start living by principle. You stop blaming others and start building yourself. You stop saying why me and start saying try me. You stop asking for a lighter load and start building stronger shoulders. This is the transformation of a designed philosophy. You move from confusion to clarity, from fear to faith, from reaction to creation. You become the architect of your own life. And that is the greatest freedom a human being can experience, because when your mind is designed with intention, your future is built with purpose, and that is the real reward. Pressure is growth. You no longer run from hard times, you use them. You no longer wait for motivation, you create it. You no longer depend on luck, you depend on discipline. This is the reward: a mind that stays calm when others panic, a heart that stays grateful when others complain, a spirit that stays hungry when others quit. When you live by design, you realize that success is not an event, it is a habit. It is the result of small daily choices that align with your vision. It is built through consistency, through character, through commitment. Every day you show up different, you speak to yourself different, you think different, you plan different. And over time life starts reflecting that difference, because the world does not change when you want it to, it changes when you change who you are inside. You stop seeking approval and start living by principle. You stop blaming others and start building yourself. You stop saying why me and start saying try me. You stop asking for a lighter load and start building stronger shoulders. This is the transformation of a designed philosophy. You move from confusion to clarity, from fear to faith, from reaction to creation. You become the architect of your own life. And that is the greatest freedom a human being can experience, because when your mind is designed with intention, your future is built with purpose, and that is the real reward. Redesign your thinking. Every choice is a brick in the wall of your future. Every thought is a seed that will become a result. The daily practice of design is simple but powerful. Be grateful first, think clearly, speak intentionally, work purposefully, and reflect honestly. When you live this way, you stay in alignment with your own philosophy. You don't get lost in the noise of the world because you have your own sound. You don't chase everything because you know your direction. You don't compare because you Have clarity, you don't waste energy on doubt because you trust your process. That is how design becomes habit, that is how discipline becomes natural, that is how success becomes normal. You turn motivation into momentum and momentum into mastery. Because each day you decide to live with intention, the world cannot stop someone who is consistent. They can be tired but still show up, they can be busy but still focus, they can fail but still believe. That is the power of daily design. It does not depend on mood or circumstance, it depends on choice, because when you choose to live by your design every single day, you stop being controlled by the world and start controlling your world. That is the true power of practice. It turns philosophy into reality. It turns ideas into identity. It turns dreams into destiny.